Welcome to Storyteller Live from the Louisiana Lounge, produced by Tagboard and LiveView. And today we are joined by Rob Alberino Jr., the VP of Content for a big team this week, the Chiefs here.
Well, we're excited. This is, it's funny. It's hard to say this, but we've literally been able to replicate what we've done in the last two Super Bowls. So we're kind of going back to the game plan. What did we do last year that worked? So we just keep breaking out our notes, and here we are, for the third time. It's a huge blessing.
That is so exciting. And third time here, and then also over 30 years of experience with NFL and your story of this. Speaking of storytelling, do you have three key things that make a great story for you?
So I got tipped off, luckily, with some of these questions, and that was the hardest one to really think about. And I think that I'm going to end with what I think to be the most important one. But one is you have to think like, in order to put out a good story, I think you really have to think like the audience. What do people want to see? And I think that's kind of the gift that producers have. The women and men on my team have the ability to think like a 10-year-old or think like a 70-year-old and everything in between. I think understanding what people want to hear. Number two is truly humanizing for us in football specifically, because I'm unemployable in any other business after 30 years in it. I think because these guys wear a helmet, I think it's really important to take off that helmet and be able to tell that story. Telling the story with the helmet on is tough. Taking it off so that you can humanize that guy or that coach, whoever it might be. People don't root for the logo on your helmet. They root for the guy underneath it, right? So I think that's a big piece for us. And the last piece, which I think is the most important, is you have to believe what you're selling. You do have to believe in the story that you're pitching, if you're producing, if you're creating. And, I'm a diehard Chiefs fan, and that is the actual truth. And loving ownership, loving the leadership, loving the players on the team. We talked off camera a little bit about the players and their personalities on the team. They're so easy to root for. They're really, really lovable, which makes our jobs easy because we believe what we're selling.
I love that, kind of creating that bridge for that connection for your fans to get to know the players.
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yep.
And your story also, let's talk about, you're here now at the Super Bowl again, but where did your story begin?
How much time do we have? So I'll keep it nice and tight. I actually started off at a very small production house in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Did some really great things. Ended up working with Penn State football, and ended up creating a show that went to all 50 states, which got noticed by NFL Films. I became a filmmaker for NFL Films for a few years, and then basically, I consider myself a Philadelphian since I've spent more time there than any place in my life. My hometown team, in essence, hired me, and I was with the Eagles and created what was called the Eagles Television Network, which was the first in-house production department for any team at that time. I think the Dallas Cowboys and us were kind of floating at the same time, but we started that with some really, really smart people in leadership there, and Jeffrey Lurie is a great owner for the Eagles. I was there for almost a decade and a half. Then my boss became basically the president of the Chiefs, Mark Donovan, and he's one of the greatest centers of influence in my career. He asked me to do the very same thing in Kansas City. We did that, but we did it with actually a really lousy football team. For those brand new Kansas City Chiefs fans, go back and look at 2010, 11, and 12. Some of the slimmest of years for us, and we did some great things. I had a great team in that time, and the San Francisco 49ers took note. I then replicated what I did at the Eagles and the Chiefs for the Niners, became their vice president, executive producer, had a fairly large crew there, created 49er Studios, was there for 8 years, and as COVID would have it, there was probably 33 million in the same boat as I. We lost our positions, and you know what? God just said, hold my beer, and I ended up back at the Chiefs, and we've had the worst year that I've had has been a loss in the AFC Championship in overtime. So, knock on wood, let's just kind of keep it alive. But it's been a great run. I've been super blessed, and I've worked with some incredible people. As a matter of fact, hopefully I'll see some of the leadership from the Niners this week. Gideon Yu was another huge piece of my life, and he's a part owner of the Niners and was our president who brought me on. So, happy to be back home, but have made some great friends along the way.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And then speaking of the Eagles, because you were there for close to 13 years,
Yep.
I think is what my notes say here.
Yeah.
Does that make it kind of fun this week because you might recognize some people on the other side?
So I have recognized so many people, Amber. I'm bumping into people every single day on the street. Former players, current employees who I worked with when I was there who still have an incredible tenure there. It's really hard because most of the people back home are not talking to me, who are my friends, who are Eagles fans, including my little sister, Samantha. But it does make it a little extra fun. We had faced them in the past. I only beat my former teams. I only beat the Eagles and the Niners. So, of course, we're going to play the Eagles again and get another shot at it. But it's a really, really fun thing because I have a lot of love for that franchise. I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for that franchise. So it's a super cool thing and gives it a little extra juice for the week.
Yeah. All right. I get that.
Yep.
Well, enough about the Eagles. We're grateful for them and the time you had there. But let's talk about Chiefs.
Okay.
It's a busy week, putting out content, production. Tell us a little bit about your setup for that and what it's been like so far.
It's been kind of crazy. We try to document some of it, but when we jumped on the team plane, we traveled with the team. We jumped on the team plane on Sunday. We took about, I want to say, give or take, 15 women and men with us, and we hit the ground on Sunday and set up edit suites, set up our production. We have to have upwards and sides $4 or $5 million worth of gear with us. It's insane. We have one room that's set up, and it's literally an edit bay, and we are just churning and burning on that. We have one room that is set up, and it is just batteries and cameras, and it's sort of our production hub. My door is my hotel room door walks right into the edit suites, so my boots are on the ground there, and the girls and guys are just crushing. They're pumping out short, mid, and long form stuff every day. You can see it on our Instagram feed, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, X. It is a factory of content, and the team is just crushing it right now.
I mean, is it even possible to for the quantity of how much you're putting out, could put a number on it?
It was funny. I reached out to our metrics team. I told you Quentin Lash and Chad Champion, two of the greatest names ever, to see if something was tracking better than anything else. But I think it's all, I know this sounds like a company line, but it's all feeding the kingdom really, really well. Chiefs Kingdom's gobbling it up, and from, our social team is dominant. Our shooters are dominant. We wire our players. We live with our players. We travel with our players. We're also doing some long-form stuff at the end of this run that it's our marquee show is called The Franchise, and that show is sort of our version of Hard Knocks, if I could put it anywhere in perspective. That show is going to be explosive when it's done because it basically chronicles our whole trip, and hopefully if we were to be able to pull off this win, it'll be a next level. Regardless of win or loss, it's going to be incredible, but I can't even imagine the content we'll have if we get to that point. And we're working on all these things in conjunction with the daily hits that we do, live media hits, questions of the day with the players. I mean, we're having fun. We're doing serious stuff. It's amazing. It's also Black History Month, and so we're doing a lot of really cool things with our players there. Our team is just – they haven't slept much. I want to caffeinate them as much as possible.
Yeah, I love that creating that connection from the fans that are here in New Orleans, but also at home or around the world tuning in to cheer you on.
Absolutely. And, one of the biggest things that we've done as a crew is we've really gone international too. So we have a special projects department that is delivering to Germany, Austria, Switzerland, the UK, Mexico. We're hoping to sort of increase that footprint in the future. But we're not only creating content, we're creating it in multiple languages too. So really, really cool stuff. The Chiefs Kingdom is literally wherever you are. That was our slogan, and it is as true as possible. So people they're gobbling it up.
I love that so much. And I have to bring up the additional fan base you guys have increased on the last 2 years, the Swifties.
I don't know what you're talking about. So she is so good for business for us because she's so unbelievably lovable. And we talked about this off camera a little bit too. And we've got a big Swiftie fan. But my whole house is full of Taylor Swift fans. And honestly, respectful, awesome, kind, engaged, from a content standpoint, we love her. Anybody who thinks that Taylor Swift's not good for football is out of their mind. So we're super, super psyched. And I'm certain she's going to make an appearance at this game, And by the way, I think she's 13-0 when she comes to games. So please come to the game if you're watching this here.
Yep. Thanks, Taylor. All right. And I have to bring up 65 TPT.
65 toss power
that?
trap. Yeah.
Okay.
So interestingly enough, in 2010, when I was honored to take over sort of the helm of the content side for the Chiefs, we were trying to think of a cool name to name like our studios, right? And we have so many cool plays. Now, it's funny, my wife, Lisa, oh, by the way, huge shout out to my wife, Lisa, and my mother, who I know are watching this. My mom was having a hard time figuring out how to watch this because she's 80 and she's retired and not on LinkedIn. But shout out to them and my kids because I know they're watching it. But my wife's like, you have so many cool plays. You've got Jet Chip Wasp, Tom and Jerry, Corn Dog. These are all super famous plays that have won us games. And in Super Bowl IV, right here, actually at Tulane Stadium, we won Super Bowl IV with 65 toss power trap. It's just a run play, which, by the way, we ran not last week, but 2 weeks ago against the Bills. Patrick Mahomes ran 65 toss power trap and it almost scored a touchdown, which would have been amazing. But we ran 65 toss power trap, and thanks to Andy Reid, who is a big historian, and I love that he threw that in there. So we got to get him a shirt. We have these really cool shirts that say 65 TPT. I got to get one for Big Red.
Oh, yeah.
I wear a medium, so I think he's probably like at least a double XL.
Yeah, get him one to wear it. Yeah, I would love to see that.
Yeah.
And then I even have to mention, too, that there's some swag from the production team that you guys
have.
have.
So this is a funny story. We were having this very serious meeting. I mean, like deadly serious meeting. We're going to the Super Bowl. Here's the thing. Everybody behave. Everybody pay attention. Let's everybody be safe. This is a business trip. And I just became like the dad, and I had a whole room of these girls and guys. And I was laying down the law. And then at the end of the meeting, our two interns, Kyle and Grace. By the way, 65 TPT, I think, is 17 for 17. We had 17 interns, and 17 of those interns are full-timers in the league or with us.
Wow.
So Kyle and Grace have a good future ahead of them, for sure.
Yes.
So Kyle and Grace, they said, we have a little gift. And I'm like, I was like stern-faced Rob, and they walked behind me and they busted out with this box and they opened it, and it was a shirt with the whole production team's picture on it, and it was adorable. Like, by the way, it was a profile of me, which I did not appreciate because that is probably my worst side, my front side. And I just thought it was the most adorable thing. And I remember going back to my office and just looking at it, and I'm sure I posted it. And it was just the seasonals, they came strong. That's what we call our interns, our seasonals. So congrats, Kyle and Grace. You guys did a great job. And it was just really, really cute. And you know what it did? It melted my icy exterior to the team at that time.
That's awesome. Oh, it's such a great story.
Yep.
And so Super Bowl, a few days away. This week, you've been here before. I wanted to ask, do you have a favorite part of the Super Bowl week or the game itself?
Would you be mad if I said none of it? It is so much work. I'm not trying to sound ungrateful. It is so much work. However, it is the biggest blessing. The game itself is really, it's like, so last year we played against the 49ers. And I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell the audience that I really, really wanted to beat the 49ers. It was a really fun game. It was probably the best game I've ever been a part of in my career. But it was back and forth. I think I had 2 heart attacks and a stroke in it. So it's not a fun game. It's it's so stressful. And but the entire week, I think, if I had to put a fine point on it, what I love the most about it is that we're immersed with our team. We're going to dinner with our team. We're going to lunch with our team. We're ideating with our team. We're creating. And I just love the courage from the team, raising their hands. What can we do? How do we do this? Working alongside of the crew and just getting an unadulterated 7 days. But it's a grind. And I mean that wholeheartedly. We're away from our families, for good reason, and they'll be here. They actually all show up tomorrow, which is wonderful.
Oh, fantastic.
But boy, it is a course load of work, and there is no rest for the wicked. We're working late, and we're getting up early, and we are churning and burning the whole time. So it's crazy.
Yeah, hopefully a well-deserved break Monday morning.
Well, and then if, knock on wood, if we were to win, you got to knock on wood. If we were to win, it then gets even a little bit bigger because there's festivities that potentially happen afterwards.
Oh, true. And so more opportunities for storytelling.
Bang.
It's just continuing.
Yep.
Yes.
It's nuts. Now, I was going to tell you a funny story that I don't think I've ever told anybody.
An exclusive.
Like, this is an exclusive, right? So should you hear this anywhere else, you probably only heard it from me. But I don't think I've ever told this on camera before. So last year, the game went to overtime. So we played our hearts out. The Niners played their hearts out. It was incredible. I mean, it was a back-and-forth heavyweight battle. And I was in the end zone where our receiver, who was super awesome, McCole Hardman, he caught the touchdown to win the game. He was on the other side of the end zone. I was in the back of the end zone. He caught it in the back of this end zone. We were separated by the goalpost. The minute the ball hit his hands, I sprinted for the 50-yard line. Sprinted. Now, little did I know that at this age, probably not a great idea to do. And I had injured my knee early in the season during Thanksgiving, and I just fought through it because I'm Italian and stubborn, and I thought, oh, it'll heal. Well, little did I know my knee was hanging on by a thread. I tore my ACL sprinting for the 50-yard line logo. And, so I tore my ACL, and I remember literally pulling up and kind of feeling, I'm like, something doesn't feel right. So later on, our team doc kind of gave it a wiggle. He's like, yep, it's torn. Let's celebrate, and then we'll go back and we'll fix it. So at least I can say I tore my ACL in the Super Bowl. That sounds really cool.
That's impressive.
Just, when you put it into context, it's not as cool. But if I just say I tore my ACL at the Super Bowl, people are like, wow, what position did you play? I was like, a producer.
You're like, last
right.
year. Well, we'll just cut it right there. That little 5-second clip where you tore your ACL.
Yep.
That's the one we post.
Yep. That's right.
It sounds like it's healed now.
Let's hope. Yes, I feel good. A lot of rehab. I had awesome team doctors. Amazing. Yep.
That's incredible. Well, thank you, Rob. And we like to wrap up our storyteller segment with our timeline time machine. And I think we even have a photo to share with everyone who's watching live.
Okay.
It is last year's ring ceremony.
Ring ceremony.
And I think it's something with a vest and the word villains.
So we're widely regarded as the villains of the NFL because we're ruining everyone's time. We don't do anything wrong other than the fact that we win. And we love the fact that we're doing this. So my wife and I always try to have like a little fit that kind of is cool. And Lisa is she's not only my best friend, but she's also my fashion consultant. And so we thought that if we could get from our amazing equipment guys, Alan Wright and team, if we could actually get the letters that go on the back of the nameplate of the players, could I spell out villains? They're like, oh my God, take what you want. What color's the vest? Make sure you use if it's red, make sure you use the one that we use for the red, for the red jerseys. Don't use the ones for the white jerseys. And so we spelled villains out. We went to our local seamstress, who's just awesome. And she actually wasn't a huge fan of the Niners. She did it for free for us. Because she was so happy that we beat them, and we put villains across there. And I just got some great shots. If you're on my, I think it's at Robert Alberino Jr., I believe. But if you're at my Instagram, you'll see it's Coach Reed. It's a good friend, Trent McDuffie, Chris Jones, all the fellas. It just was a lot of fun. I still have that vest. I will have to wear the NFL media vest for this. For the Super Bowl when I'm on the sidelines, but we might break that guy out again if we're lucky enough to have the opportunity.
That was my next question. Will we see it again?
I can't. Look, the Eagles are an amazing team. This is going to be such a battle. I have no idea. I have no feeling for the game, no feeling for the outcome. But you know what? God willing, we'll get to do some history if we're lucky.
Well, Rob, thank you so much for joining us on Storyteller. Is there anyone else you want to shout out or anything else you want to say?
I do want to shout out, actually, the one guy. We had a team member who was so selfless that his dad got sick. He had to go home. He's one of our key members, our director of special projects production, Joe Helder. He's home with his dad. So I'm going to send him a shout out. Just for all you people out there, he was like, Super Bowl week, Super Bowl game, dad's more important. He literally got in his car and he drove home to Philadelphia to go see his dad. And even more daringly with all of his Chief stuff on. So hopefully he doesn't get stopped anywhere in the Pennsylvania area. But huge shout out to Joe, man. We're thinking about you and we're thinking about your dad.
Definitely. Oh, well, Rob, thank you again. And for everyone watching, we'll throw a poll up on the screen. We know who you're rooting for, but we're asking everyone at home who they're rooting for. We got the Chiefs, the Eagles.
Yep.
Got to vote for the Chiefs here already.
Good.
But again, thank you, Rob, and thank you so much for joining us live from the Louisiana Lounge for Storyteller.